Substitutions or exceptions can be made by program coordinators or the Office of the Registrar staff within DegreeWorks for an individual student. This happens when a student is not going to meet one expectation, but it is okay if they have another course or transferable credits that will apply for that requirement. In order to complete an exception, you must be a program coordinator with the exception status in DegreeWorks. If you have the exception status, you will see the Exceptions tab at the top of your screen once you are logged into DegreeWorks. Under exception types, there are several kinds. There are force complete, which basically means you are waiving that student's requirements and they do not have to take that course. This can be problematic in the fact if a student does not meet their 60 credit hours for an associate's degree or 30 credit hours for a certificate, they will not be able to graduate even if everything on their DegreeWorks plan has been satisfied with the exception of the overall credit hours. Use this sparingly. If you can substitute another course, try not to waive that course. A substitute is basically a 1-to-1 ratio. That means if you are subbing English 101 for English 110 and there were no other options on there. Also allows you to say if the student wants to take English 110 instead of English 101, I will also allow English 110, and the student has the option of then taking English 101 or English 110. The most commonly used one, however, is the apply here function. The apply here allows you to take something and apply it to that student's account, but it also leaves the original requirements in place. This is important because sometimes a student will fail or withdraw from a course that you have done a substitution for, and then that student needs to take that course again instead of taking the original course. The remove course and/or change the limit should not be used except in extreme circumstances. If you do want to use that, please contact the Office of the Registrar so that we can help you out with that. Now what we're going to do is we're going to actually use an apply here to sub something on Testy Registrar's account. So the first step you're going to do is click on apply here. The second step that you're going to do before you click on anything else is you're going to come down here and click on the button beside the requirement that you want to substitute or replace. In this case, we're going to use visual arts or music. So we click on the radio button beside visual arts or music, and then we're going to go back up here and click on load. Once we click on load, you'll notice that it says apply a specific class here. This is where we will put that information. In order to know the courses that are in fall through, we're going to come down here and see the courses. This student has Accounting 180, Biology 101, and CGen 100, which is actually an in-progress course. So from here, what we're going to do is the specific course that where you're going to apply, you're just going to type it in, CGen 100. This is case specific, and the number is very specific. You can notice that in parentheses behind 100, there is an IP. That just stands for in progress, and that is not part of the course number. Same thing you'll notice with the Biology 101. That course did transfer in, but that T in parentheses is not actually part of the course number. However, if the biology said T100, then that T would be required to be replaced before the 100 level course. With the apply here function, a description will be automatically added. The only one that you would have to type something in would be the force complete, but the apply here will automatically put a description in for you. So now that we have chosen our exception type, click the radio button beside the exception that we want to replace, clicked on load, and then applied the course which we want to do, we're just going to click on add exception. You're going to get this little description that says it was left blank, and then it is going to add something for you. So go ahead and click OK. It will tell you then that the exception has been successfully added to the database, and it has applied a description in there for you. Descriptions are very important because you'll notice here in a minute, sometimes if the exception is not applied, that is the only way you know how an exception has been applied, and to try to figure out what rule it was applied to and what particular program is sometimes quite a bit of a challenge. Now, in order for us to see that if CGen has replaced our art course, we're going to come back here into the Worksheets tab, and when we scroll down and see, you will see now that the visual art or music has been replaced by the CGen 100 first year experience. The other thing that you will also notice is that under fall through courses, CGen 100 is no longer showing up there, which means it will now count into the student's financial aid and be part of their degree program. Now that we have our exception applied, there are just a couple other things that we want to look at. You'll notice right here on the worksheet that there is now an exceptions section, and you can see that an apply here was done and we applied CGen 100. This is the date that it was done, the person that did it, and that yes, it is enforced. If a student has multiple degree programs, an exception is not across the board. It is specific to a particular major and a particular catalog year. What that means is if a student changes their catalog year, you would have to go in and reapply any exceptions that may have been done in a previous catalog year. Another thing that we want to look at is going back to the exceptions tab. If you have messed something up and need to delete an exception, you are able to do that. If you scroll all the way down to the bottom, choose the radio button besides the exception that you want to delete, and then click on Remove Exception, you will get a drop-up box that says that it has been removed. Hit OK, rerun your worksheet, and now you'll see that that exception that we had put in for art or music has now disappeared. One important thing to remember is there should only be one exception on every class. If you have more than one exception on the same class, the system does tend to get confused and may not apply any of the exceptions the way you expect them to. If you have any additional questions about the exception process or during course substitutions for a student as a program coordinator, please contact the Office of the Registrar.